My wife and I desperately wanted a child, but it didn't work out for a very long time. We even asked for help from a doctor. But then luck played on our side and we got a beautiful daughter, who however was not like me at all, which made me doubt my wife's loyalty. So I took very extreme and radical measures to get to the truth. I'm a 51-year-old man, and I've been married to my 44-year-old wife Nancy for 26 years. We have a wonderful daughter who is about to turn 16 in a few weeks. Initially, we were all excited about her upcoming birthday until a shocking revelation shattered our family, particularly affecting me and Kimberly. Nancy and I struggled with infertility for a long time before finally being blessed with Kimberly. She brought immense joy to our lives, and we cherished every moment spent with her. However, the recent discovery through Kimberly's DNA test revealed that I am not her biological father. This revelation led to intense discussions and conflicts between Nancy and me, exposing her infidelity that had been hidden from me for most of our marriage. Devastated by the betrayal, I couldn't simply let it go, so I decided to seek revenge. Let me take you back to how Nancy and I met when I was 22. We crossed paths at an event for upcoming entrepreneurs where she, as a volunteer, mistakenly took me to the VIP section, thinking I was one of the speakers. I clarified, but she winked and walked away, leaving me intrigued. Later, she passed me a tissue with her number on it. We had a brief encounter after her work, and initially it was a one-time thing. Months later, I found the tissue and decided to contact her. At the time, I had nothing major going on, so I was open to blowing off some steam. Our casual meetings evolved into a physical relationship, fueled by a mutual attraction. Nancy's odd working hours at a fashion magazine provided ample opportunities for us to meet regularly. Initially, it was just a fling, and I never expected it to get serious. However, Nancy proposed the idea of a serious relationship, despite my reservations due to financial concerns. She convinced me that we could work and save for our future, leading to our eventual marriage. Our wedding was simple, with close friends and family, and our initial years were like a movie: great sex, support, and conversations. After almost 2 years of marriage, we faced challenges in conceiving, which strained our relationship. Arguments and blame arose, and Nancy's late working hours added to the tension. Our interactions dwindled, and it became evident that we were drifting apart. Thanksgiving provided an opportunity for Nancy and me to have a serious conversation and address the issues in our marriage. In an effort to address our infertility issue, we decided to seek medical assistance to understand the underlying reasons. After visiting the doctor, we both felt optimistic and committed to doing everything possible to overcome this challenge. Despite my repeated attempts to encourage Nancy to ease up on her workload, she continued working overtime and taking on multiple projects simultaneously. This became a recurring source of disagreement between us. Nancy insisted on completing 2 final projects before focusing on starting a family. Despite my concerns, Nancy not only started coming home late, but also began staying back at the office more frequently. I tried discussing the matter with her, but she argued that staying and finishing her work was more convenient than commuting. Though I wasn't thrilled about it, I found myself unable to intervene, so I let it be. One day, I noticed one of her colleagues dropping her off at 3 hours in the morning. While I wasn't quick to judge, the colleague gave her a peck on the cheek, which struck me as unusual for a mere colleague. When I confronted Nancy, she dismissed it as a common occurrence in the fashion industry, assuring me it was harmless. I questioned if she'd be comfortable with me being so close to another woman, but she brushed it off, knowing me well enough not to suspect any wrongdoing. This left me feeling guilty for doubting her, prompting me to plan a surprise weekend getaway to make amends. When I shared the news of our weekend escape to tranquility, Nancy's reaction surprised me. Instead of excitement, she seemed displeased. This puzzled me as we were spending less time together, and this getaway could have been an opportunity to reconnect. I directly asked her if something was wrong, and she insisted everything was fine, but mentioned plans to clean the house over the weekend. Perplexed, I thought we could address that the following weekend and proceeded with our trip. During our time at the resort, Nancy appeared distant and preoccupied with her phone. It couldn't be solely about cleaning the house. Perhaps there was something else on her mind. While she was in the shower, I noticed messages from a colleague named Virginia repeatedly popping up on her phone. To avoid distraction, I decided to let Virginia know that Nancy was busy. However, as I glanced at the messages, one in particular caught my attention. It read, "Baby, how long do I have to stay away from you? We had plans this weekend and you ditched me." Intrigued, I checked the sender's name, Virginia, whom I wasn't aware of working with Nancy. When Nancy emerged from the shower, I confronted her about Virginia's messages and she froze. She explained that Virginia was a new acquaintance without friends or family around, so she suggested spending time together. Skeptical but trusting Nancy, I proposed inviting Virginia for lunch or dinner. When Nancy mentioned feeling less lonely, she responded in a reserved manner and never brought up Virginia again. However, I observed a change in Nancy's behavior after the Virginia incident. She started spending more time at home and making an effort to engage in conversations with me. I was pleased to see an improvement in our relationship, and things in the bedroom were becoming more exciting, reminiscent of the past. This positive shift prompted thoughts about starting a family. Nancy began prioritizing family time, and we started going out more frequently. We seized every opportunity for intimacy, all with the ultimate goal of having a baby. Nancy's erratic work schedules had significantly decreased, and she was making a conscious effort to reduce instances of staying late after work. I didn't want to pressure her into having a baby, considering her mental well-being. After nearly 2 years of trying, we received the wonderful news during our morning ritual pregnancy test. The joy of expecting a child overwhelmed us, and we eagerly anticipated the arrival of our little one. Our lives were filled with excitement and anticipation, with each day feeling more magical than the last. We immersed ourselves in books and videos about pregnancy, and I made sure to be as supportive as possible during this special time. Nancy took a break from work at 6 months pregnant to ensure a smooth childbirth. The gender reveal party became a highly anticipated event, with friends and family sharing in our happiness when we learned we were having a girl. After a laborious process, our baby girl, Kimberly, entered the world. Holding her in my arms for the first time brought tears of joy, and I knew our lives had changed forever. Despite Kimberly resembling her mother more than me, I was grateful for the joy of being her father. As Kimberly turned 5, Nancy resumed her work as a PR person for a magazine. She gradually rose to the position of lead PR manager, becoming increasingly busy. Kimberly was approaching 16, and I hoped Nancy would be there for important talks about growing up. However, I noticed Nancy's defensive behavior regarding her phone, working late, and carrying her phone everywhere, even to the bathroom. Concerned, I searched for signs of a cheating partner online, and Nancy seemed to fit the description. I observed Nancy becoming more engrossed in her job, neglecting Kimberly's transformation into a young lady. Despite my attempts to reason with Nancy, Kimberly felt distant from her mother, leading to clashes between us. Concerning my mom's unavailability for Kimberly's needs, she was evolving into a rebellious teenager, and Nancy's distant behavior only aggravated the situation. Numerous arguments erupted between them, and my role was to mediate and ease the tension. I attempted to engage Nancy in conversations about Kimberly, but she brushed it off, attributing Kimberly's behavior to typical teenage phases. Kimberly harbored a growing suspicion that Nancy might not be her biological mother, leading her to believe Nancy was neglecting her. Despite presenting Kimberly with evidence of Nancy's pregnancy and showing pictures from that time, Kimberly remained steadfast in her belief that Nancy couldn't be her real mother. When Kimberly turned 16, she clandestinely conducted a DNA test, revealing a shocking result. Her DNA had a 1% match with mine. It was a revelation that left me stunned, even though deep down I sensed it might come to this. Regardless, I loved Kimberly as my own, and a piece of paper couldn't alter our bond. While doubts lingered, especially in the face of challenging conception and childbirth, I refused to let them shake my faith in Nancy's loyalty. The shocking DNA results didn't make me doubt her intentions, but a part of me wondered if there was more to the situation. Kimberly, devastated by the truth, sought comfort, and I chose not to let this revelation strain our relationship. Kimberly still considered me her father, and I was determined to maintain that connection. With Kimberly by my side, I couldn't dismiss almost 2 decades of betrayal. It was time for action. To address Nancy's actions, I needed a plan for revenge. Kimberly, my trusted confidant and ally, joined forces with me. Together, we devised a meticulous plan to expose Nancy's deceit and make her accountable. We were resolute in revealing the truth and ensuring Nancy faced the consequences. To initiate our revenge, I discovered Nancy's infidelity. She had not only kept the truth about Kimberly's paternity, but had also been having an affair with a younger man named Jeremy for almost a year. I approached Jeremy, revealing Nancy's manipulation and enlisting him in our revenge plan. Despite feeling sympathy for Jeremy, I knew I couldn't falter in executing our plan. Careful not to reveal our knowledge, I informed Nancy that her upcoming 45th birthday would be extraordinary, planning a surprise party to divert her attention. As Nancy's birthday approached, Kimberly and I meticulously organized the surprise party, making sure every detail was in place. I was determined to keep Nancy in the dark about our secret mission, aiming for a day she'd remember forever. To unveil the mystery of Kimberly's real father, I delved almost 2 decades into the past. Kimberly and I brainstormed potential suspects, and Kimberly suggested looking at old pictures for clues. We found a photo that strongly resembled a man from Nancy's past. Seeking information from Nancy's friends, we identified him and decided to investigate further. Contacting him, we arranged a meeting at a distant cafe to avoid encountering Nancy. The moment he approached, it was evident he could be Kimberly's biological father, given their striking resemblance. He introduced himself as Jonathan, and we sat down to discuss the matter. Jonathan revealed that Nancy had saved his name as Virginia to conceal their affair. I felt a mix of shock and betrayal upon learning that Nancy had hidden an affair right under my nose. Jonathan disclosed that Nancy planned to pass Kimberly off as my child, and after Kimberly's birth she cut ties with him. Jonathan, feeling guilty, left his job and relocated. I wished Nancy had come clean about the affair, as I would have forgiven her, considering our deep love and anticipation for the baby. Nancy's lack of conscience saddened me. To make Nancy pay for her deceit, I asked Jonathan for help in planning a surprise for Nancy. On her birthday, we orchestrated a spa and beauty session, followed by a party where guests gathered in the hotel ballroom. Nancy, unaware of what awaited her, was excited. I invited everyone, even those unfamiliar with her, ensuring no one would be on her side. As guests poured in, Nancy arrived, and I called her to a platform under the spotlight. I began by recounting our 30-year history, emphasizing Nancy's impact on my life. The revelation about Kimberly's true parentage loomed, and I relished the anticipation of Nancy's reaction to the unveiling of the truth. I set up a projector to display our shared memories. Kimberly controlled the images, starting with pictures of Nancy, Kimberly, and me as a happy family. At this point, everyone's attention was on Nancy and the pictures. I decided it was time to add some drama. I began talking about Kimberly's dissimilarity to me and then revealed Kimberly's DNA report, proving I wasn't her father. The revelation caused a stir among the party attendees. Subsequently, I displayed intimate pictures of Kimberly with Jonathan, stirring further commotion. I followed it up with images of Nancy and her current younger boyfriend, causing a frenzy among the crowd. Nancy was frozen at these revelations. Her mother approached and slapped her, leading to Nancy's immediate eviction from the party. I had already cautioned everyone against supporting her. She left for her boyfriend Jeremy's place, where they sought solace, as pre-planned. I instructed Jeremy to capture compromising photos and videos of them together. I had a specific use in mind. I discovered Nancy's upcoming important office meeting through colleagues who sympathized with me and shared the information. Knowing she was occupied with preparations, I patiently waited. The day of the presentation arrived, and Nancy addressed a crowd of about 3,000 people. During her speech, she mentioned a video to simplify understanding. As the video started playing, instead of the intended content, it showed inappropriate footage of Nancy undressing. The audience gasped, leaving her humiliated and desperately attempting to halt the video. She was subsequently fired for damaging the company's reputation and causing financial losses. Devastated, Nancy confronted her boyfriend, who denied involvement and shifted blame to me, portraying me as a jealous ex-husband seeking revenge. Nancy, trusting him, followed him to an expensive hotel, where they made love and slept. While she slept, he took her credit cards and cash, leaving her stranded with nothing. I had instructed him to leave her penniless in an expensive place. Nancy woke up to find herself in a hotel room booked under her name for a month. Confused and unable to reach her boyfriend, she faced the hotel staff's demand for payment by 10 a.m. When I walked in at that moment, Nancy realized the extent of the scheme. She pleaded for forgiveness, claiming her relationship with her boyfriend was purely physical and that she wanted to reconcile with me. Kimberly, expressing her shame, distanced herself from Nancy. I informed Nancy that her deceit had gone far enough, instructing her to prepare for the upcoming divorce trial, armed with all the evidence I needed. I made a decision to expose Nancy's infidelity and bring it to court, with the added intention of involving the media for widespread coverage and public humiliation. My plan was to make her infamous for cheating, making it challenging for her to move around without being recognized and reminded of her actions. Our joint bank account showed a rapid decline, prompting me to block Nancy from all our shared assets, joint cards, accounts, and remove her name from properties. Utilizing the power of attorney I already had, this process was relatively straightforward. I wanted Nancy to face consequences for cheating on me and concealing the truth about Kimberly. Seeking legal counsel and consulting a divorce attorney were crucial steps to protect my rights and ensure custody of Kimberly. My primary goal was to safeguard my financial stability and hold Nancy accountable for her actions. Despite potential disagreements with my actions, I couldn't let her walk away after causing turmoil in our lives. I sought support from others who might have faced similar experiences and needed advice on handling my teenage daughter's situation. I emphasized my commitment to being there for her and not abandoning her like her mother did. I promised updates on the divorce trial, vowing to make it messy and humiliating for Nancy. I enlisted friends to connect with reporters, and during the trial, my lawyer presented evidence of Nancy's infidelity. Testimonies from Jonathan and Jeremy, who admitted romantic involvement with Nancy, strengthened our case. Kimberly, when called to the stand for custody preference, chose to live with me without hesitation, citing my consistent presence and support. The judge ruled in my favor, granting Kimberly's custody, and I ensured the media covered Nancy's humiliation extensively. Nancy, now without legal representation, defended herself, demanding hefty child support and claiming Kimberly was a demanding child. The judge, after careful consideration, ruled in my favor, and the media portrayed Nancy's downfall, affecting her personal and professional life. Models she previously blackmailed distanced themselves, and she faced isolation. Despite feeling a mix of pity and satisfaction, I realized karma caught up with her for manipulating and deceiving others. After the trial, Kimberly and I decided to move on from Nancy, renovating our house and discarding anything associated with her. Kimberly demonstrated independence and confidence, not needing maternal love or validation. Seeing Kimberly grow empowered me to focus on being the best father for her and to rebuild my life after the tumultuous events. 3 years have passed since those events. A year ago, Kimberly enrolled in college and began to come to me only on vacation. I tried to have relationships with other women, but Kimberly talked me out of it all the time. But one woman still liked her. It was Amber, who worked as a teacher at the school. She was very kind and understanding. When I introduced Amber to my daughter, they immediately found a common language, and Kimberly said that this was my man. That's why I'm not living alone right now and I'm doing well. My ex-wife tried to contact me for 3 years, but I ignored her, and I had no desire to communicate with her. But I was wondering why she decided to cheat on me and hide this fact for many years. So I was the initiator of our last meeting. Nancy had to move to another city because she had nothing to catch here. Almost everyone despised her for such a very mean and low act, and I was ashamed. When I met Nancy, she started talking about her life and was interested in mine, but I decided to get right to the point, so I asked her directly what was the reason for her infidelity. It was obvious that she was embarrassed and she was scared and ashamed to tell me anything about it. The original reason she decided to cheat on me was that she had lost her love for me. She had been trying to get it back for many years, but it was useless, and she began to be attracted to other men, and she did not know what to do. Because she lied to me and was afraid to admit it to me, she went too far, and as a result, a large number of years passed, and a stone shot at her. She repented very much of what she had done, but it was too late to return. She thought that I would not find out about anything, so she tried to be very cunning. She shared with me that I did not know all her lovers. There were many more than I expected. Such a revelation did not surprise me. I was not even upset. I just didn't care. Now, the most important thing for me is that I have a daughter and a woman who loves me. I did not tell Nancy about my new woman so that she would not try to find out anything about her. Happiness loves Tishchina. Nancy, by the way, has already been in 3 relationships in 3 years, but they all ended terribly. One guy cheated on her, another used physical force, and the third was an alcoholic. I understood why she was unlucky with partners. She just didn't appreciate what she had, and now she gets what she deserves. I didn't feel sorry for her because what I had to go through was much worse than what she's going through right now. I wished Nancy good luck and said I hoped I'd never see her again. I do not plan to marry Amber, at least in the near future. I have already fallen on a red-hot fire and do not want to repeat this, so I try not to get too attached to a person, but just move on and live a quiet life. Thank you for listening to my story.
This is the end of the story. We will be interested to hear your opinion in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like it. Good luck.